Purdue, the press secretary, Josh Earnest, specifically on the White House's new stance to do a investigation into that Russian hacking. We're just going to look only at that section. And briefly, remember to go check out Patreon. Thank you for those that did. And for the YouTube channel, I am looking at most all of your suggestions, just so you know what's coming down the pipe. Netanyahu, the Palestinian leaders, Gingrich, Silverstein, Al Gore, a slew of the other ones, Le Pen. So I've got them in there. I'm just trying to get them out. And as something becomes more relevant to the USA, because I am a USA citizen, I will tend to do them first, as this one was not actually in my queue until yesterday. So let's get started. Oh, and I am using the keys now. Thank you. I finally figured out that it was me. I know it's been suggested to me for a while to use the left and right keys. I don't know. It was just every time I pushed it, it never worked. All of a sudden today, I was like, well, I'll try it one more time. Oh, look, it works. It's just me.
These are men and women with specialized skills, in many cases, who have chosen to not just dedicate their careers, but dedicate their lives to our national security. They don't do it for the fame and the glory. In most cases, their identities are never known. At least in many cases, their identities are never known. They aren't doing it because the pay's great. In many cases, these are professionals with substantial capabilities, with areas of expertise that would allow them to get a much bigger paycheck.
No, as I'm watching him, so far, the only eluding he's been doing is not to answer the question specified, but to dance around it. He's very guarded in the way he speaks with his words. He hasn't reached a deceptive point yet, but he's very guarded.
Check in the private sector. These are men and women who dedicate themselves to this cause because they love this country. And President Obama has benefited enormously from their work, from their expertise, from their advice, and from their service to the country. And President Obama is certainly not the first president to have enjoyed the benefits of the experts in our intelligence community. And I'm confident that the president-elect would benefit from that advice if he remains open to it.
Thanks, Josh.
Okay. Aisha.
Let me go back and look at this.
Their identities are never known. At least in many cases, their identities are never known. They aren't doing it because the pay's great. In many cases, these are identities are never known. At least in many cases, their identities are never known. They aren't doing it because the pay's great. In many cases, these are...
You see this arm movement right here? Now watch.
Are professionals with substantial...
And that one. Those are the kind of arm movements I see quite often with Barack Obama when Obama speaks. Same exact movements. And he's speaking the same exact way. A lot of pausing. It's taking forever for him to get through a sentence. This can happen when you spend a lot of time with an individual. You'll pick up their mannerisms and how they talk, especially if you look at that individual as your alpha. Let's continue.
Capabilities with areas of expertise that would allow them to get a much bigger paycheck in the private sector. These are men and women who dedicate themselves to this cause because they love this country. And President Obama has benefited enormously from their work, from their expertise, from their advice, and from their service to the country. And President Obama is certainly not the first president to have enjoyed the benefits of the experts in our intelligence community. And I'm confident that the president-elect would benefit from that advice if he remains open to it.
Thanks, sir.
Okay. Aisha.
Following up or contrasting to that.
Well, Aisha, there's obviously a lot there. Let me start by reminding you of the statement, the extraordinary statement that was issued by the U.S. intelligence community the first week in October. In that statement that reflected the consensus view of 17 different intelligence agencies, they've concluded and reported to the American public that Russia was engaged in malicious cyber activity in an attempt to destabilize our political system.
I hope you're hearing what I'm hearing. I mean, I suspected it on Obama, but I couldn't. He flowed so well, I didn't even want to mention it. And then when he didn't flow so well, Obama does a lot of filler words. This guy, on the other hand, does not do filler words. Now, if you've been following me for a while, I hope that you had at this point gone and checked out Hillary Clinton and the infamous earpiece, because I believe that's what we're seeing right now. We're seeing an earpiece moment. Listen to how he's talking and the pauses that he's taking and how many words go through that pause.
Of 17 different intelligence agencies, they've concluded and reported to the American public that Russia was engaged in malicious cyber activity in an attempt to destabilize our political system. That's a significant charge. And the fact that the intelligence community came forward and made public this assessment is extraordinary, even unprecedented. That's the first thing. The second thing is...
All right, now we're looking. We're going to go to another spot where it gets worse.
Yeah, there was a lot of reporting over the weekend about additional intelligence assessments that have been reached. If that's something that can be shared publicly, that's going to come from the intelligence community. It's not going to come from here. And that is evidence of the continued commitment of this administration to ensuring and even protecting the integrity of the basic institutions of government, including the intelligence community.
He's doing a lot of lip licking as he's doing that, and he's holding his mouth shut. Now, holding mouth shut means you don't want things to come out a lot of times. But there is that instance when you're doing a repeat pattern that you will hold your mouth shut so you can listen. It's like you pause yourself, go in listen mode, and repeat. It makes sense to have an earpiece, especially when you don't have the option of teleprompters. It's supposed to be a press conference, and you're not quite sure the kind of questions you're going to get. This just makes it harder to see that his own opinion in it, because when you get into a repeat, when you are in a repeat pattern, and I'm sure the government knows this, there are way better people than me in government that can do this. But once you get into that repeat pattern, the ability to lie and not give yourself away is so much easier. The only thing that you can pick out is that it's a repeat pattern. I'll try and find some more, or we're going to end it here.
It was the president-elect who, over the course of the campaign, indicated that he thought that President Putin was a strong leader. It was the president-elect who indicated the potential that he would withdraw from some of our critically important NATO commitments. It was the president-elect who refused to disclose his financial connections to Russia. It was the president-elect who hired a campaign chairman with extensive, lucrative personal financial ties to Russia. It was the president-elect who had a national security advisor on the campaign that had been a paid contributor to RT.
Paid contributor to, pause. Some of those words we can point out as he does it. It would be a pause point that shouldn't be there. You know, you've already got, especially with the 2RT.
Campaign chairman with extensive, lucrative personal financial ties to Russia. It was the president.
See, to Russia. Personal, extensive financial ties, pause, to Russia.
Elect who had a national security advisor on the campaign that had been a paid contributor to RT.
And then a pause so that he could be told it was RT. Is it a verbatim repeat pattern, as if the person in his ear is speaking blah, 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 blah? Or is it point, Bannon campaign, remind him of that? And he comes up with the way to articulate it to the audience. It seems like a mix of it. So he articulates some of it as the points are given to him, and then other times as we see the repeat pattern getting really bad, he's getting it verbatim. I looked through the rest of this Q&A on anything to do with the CIA and their investigation into the Russian hacking, and it's nothing that is just repeated here. His body language is of a repeat pattern. Anyways, if you liked it, leave a like. If you like the content, please subscribe. Thank you for watching.